Hi everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Monica Abu and I upload sewing tutorial and lifestyle content on this channel. In today's video, I'm going to teach you all how to make this welt pocket as seen in the video. If that's something you're interested in watching, let's get started. So guys, to make this welt pocket, I'll be making use of this fabric. Making use of this fabric that looks like pieces because I'm not making it on my main fabric. I'm just using this to explain to you guys. Make sure it is 10 inches long. And make sure the width is 8.5. So what I'm going to do is just to connect this point together. And I'm going to cut it out. So after cutting it out, this is what it looks like. So the next thing I'm going to do is to cut extra 2 of this exact size. So after cutting it out, you should have 3 pieces like this. Remember, 10 inches long and 8.5 inches wide. What I want to do is to cut the cover of the pocket. So this is an example of the welt pocket we are trying to recreate. So this is what we're trying to make. The cover of the pocket, as you can see. So it is better that it is short than long. So you can see what I have here is 3 inches. So I'll just make use of 8. So it will be 8 by 8. So this is going to serve as our welt pocket. So make sure you probably identify it. Probably you can just write something to identify it. So you don't mix it up with these 3 that we cut earlier. So the next thing you are going to do is to cut it out. So the next thing we are going to cut out is this thing. You can see this little thing here and this little thing here. You can see it. This is what we're going to cut out next. To cut it out, we're going to make sure that the length is 2 inches and the width is 8.5. So I'm cutting it this way. So I end up having 2 of it. So you should have 2 of this. That will be done for the cutting of the welt pocket. So the first thing you want to do is to measure out 1 inch like this. And you make sure you have 1 inch space. This piece serves as our initial fabric if you are sewing it on your suit. So you're going to assume this is your suit. I'm using this plain fabric because it's just pieces I'm using to show you guys. So you're going to mark out 1 inch like this. Make sure it is well accurate till you get to this point. So after marking it like this, you're going to use your ruler to rule it out. Please, when making your welt pocket, you have to take your time. It's not a rush work. And it's something you have to practice before you sew it on your main fabric. Because it has its own special way of sewing. So once you cut it out, you ruin your fabric if you don't sew it well. So it's better for you to practice on fabric, on pieces like this, before you do it on your main fabric. So I'm just connecting the lines together, as you can see. So the next thing you want to do is to mark out 1/2 inch till you get to this point. Then you use your ruler. This period you can't use freehand though. If you have ruler, make sure you use it. You must even use ruler so you don't draw rubbish. So this is my 1/2 inch, as you can see, and make sure it's accurate. After doing this, you take it aside. Remember these 2 pieces that we cut out. You are going to iron it. Let me iron it so I'll show you what to do next. So what I'm going to do is to flip it like this. Make sure it is well accurate in the middle. I will iron it out.
Mami.
is what it looks like after I've ironed it. So the next thing to do is to fold it like this. Make sure it is 1/2 inch and you iron it. By the time I see this ghetto line, won't it be easier for me to sew? So after ironing it like this, the next thing we want to do is to sew it and make sure it is on this line that we've marked out. I'm going to show you all how to do it. So let's go to the sewing machine. The first thing we want to do is to take this strap like this and place it on top of this line. Then you pin it. Make sure you use pin. No matter how good you are at sewing, please make sure you pin it, because Welt pocket, you need to take your time. It's not something you can just rush to make. So I've already pinned it. So I'm just going to make sure that I'm sewing on this line, and I will follow this my gator line. You can see that's the importance of using this gator line instead of using chalk. So please note that you start from this line. You're starting from this point. So I'm just going to mark mine like this, so I'll know where to start from and sew.
Damn, they show me that if I know pull out, she got my back. I'm happy that say everything I do is for my woman.
Can you see? I made sure I ran a stitch on this line. So the next thing I'm going to do is to do the same thing, the same method. I'm going to apply it on this other part too. See, can you see? I make sure I stitched on the line that we drew. So this is what it looks like, and I make sure it started from this point to this point. So after stitching it out, this is what it looks like. So the next thing I'm going to do is to cut it out. So it has a special way of cutting, so please watch carefully as I cut. The first thing I want to do is to notch it at the middle like this. So I think it's better for me to just pin it so you guys can see how I'm cutting it well, because this is the delicate part of the Welt pocket. If you cut it wrongly, that's the end. You have to cut another one. After pinning it, this is what it looks like. Please remember that I just pinned it so you guys can see how I'm cutting it. So I hope you can see. Just cut it, follow the line. So when you get to this point, can you see? You just cut it like this. Just cut it gently. Make sure it doesn't exit that line that we drew the other time. So you do the same thing like this. Like this. Can you see? I've already cut this side, so I'm going to do the second side too. So after cutting it out like this, the next thing I'm going to do is to put, so these 4 edges, we are putting it inside. This is what it looks like. So I need to go and iron it. So after ironing it out, this is what it looks like. You have to make sure that it is equal. So the next thing you want to do, by the time you flip it over to the wrong side like this, you should have something like this little triangle. So from the beginning of this triangle at this point, I'm going to stitch it very close and end it here. Then I'll do the same thing for the other side. The reason why we are doing that is to make these two lines, is to make it firm. So after doing that, you'll take your pocket. Remember the pocket you cut 8 by 8 inches. I already went ahead to iron my interfacing on it. So it's important you iron it on your pocket cover. So the next thing you're going to do is to take it like this. You measure 1/2 inch and stitch it to the end. Take 1/2 inch and stitch it to the end. I'm just going to do that on my sewing machine. I'll show you guys the process. So for the triangle part I told you guys about, I'll just make sure that it is well arranged. You see, I'll compare it to how I'm seeing it at the outer part, and I'll pin it. So by the time I'm sewing it, it's not going to shift. Remember to stitch it closely from the beginning of this part to the end of this triangle. After stitching it, this is what it looks like, you can see. So I'm going to do the same thing for the second side. This is what it looks like. Next thing you want to do is to measure this part, and what I have here is 6 inches. So that means I'm going to take 1 inch at both sides. So I'm flipping it over like this. What I'm going to do is to flip it over to the right side and iron it, and also iron this. So the next thing you're going to do is to take your cover, your pocket cover, put it inside this upper part like this. Put it inside. So by the time you turn it to the other side, you will join it with this one. Can you see? This is what it should look like when you flip it over to the right side. So you're just going to take it like this and stitch it.
Baby, now the way that you talk and the things that you say, where they make you feel alright.
So after sewing it, this is what it should look like. You can see the pocket cover is coming out already. So if you are following my method, the remaining part should be like this, 2-piece. So what we're going to do is to flip it over to this one to the right side, to the wrong side rather. Then you take one of this pocket side and you attach it here and you stitch. So after sewing it like this, the last part of the pocket, the last part that we cut out for our pocket, you're going to place it like that too, on top of this one too, like this, and you stitch. After stitching it, it should look like this. So the next thing you're going to do is just to stitch it round. But I can see my pocket is too long, so I'll just make it short. So I'll measure about 6 inches. So as I'm stitching, this is what I'm doing. I am stitching like this, following this line and stitching to the other side. I'll just cut the excess out.
Baby girl, I see you. Wanna ride you like a bicycle, and you they blow my mind from my mind ago. And I don't go lie, you light up my life. And when she tell me my love is your love,
what it looks like. So you should have something like this. This must be closed. So when you open it like this, inside must be closed too. We must not see any stitch. You must not see any stitch inside. All the stitch has to be closed. Thank you for watching and see you in my next one. Bye guys.